No matter where you come from, no matter where you're going, here's a place where you can take comfort in the knowing that whether if you've come to stay a while or just passing through, this door is open to you. Come and let's be silent. Come and share a hug. Come, let's pray together. Come, love and be loved. From the blissed out to the turned out, from the pampered to the abused, this door is open to you. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. The God in us recognizes the God in you. The God in you. Whether you're black or white, gay or straight, Christian, Buddhist or Jew, this door is open to you.
Ready to stand up and sing? Here we go. Y'all remember this one?
Coming together to celebrate life, shining like stars in a brilliant night sky, here for each other in joy and pain. Grateful for this family, spiritual community, the love we share is sunshine after rain. All is well when we are together, greater, stronger. All is well. All is well when we are together, deeper, kinder. All is well.
Let's hear those O's. You ready?
When we're together, it feels like home. Kindred spirits never alone. Let's join voices and sing a song. Music is the food of love. At this table is more than enough. In this moment, take a breath and sing along. All is well when we are together, greater, stronger. All is well. All is well when we are together, deeper, kinder. All is well.
Let's hear it, everybody. Here we go.
All is well when we are together, greater, stronger. All is well. All is well when we are together, deeper, kinder. All is well.
Give yourselves a hand.
Isn't that a great song? I love that song. It's beautiful. Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Reverend Paula Mekdeci. It is my great honor and joy to welcome you this morning to Unity Renaissance, whether here or online. We are happy to be together, even through the ethers, if we can't all be together in person. And gosh, what a beautiful fall day it is out there today. I hope wherever you are watching online that it is equally beautiful this morning. You know, we had Veterans Day this last week. I guess it was on Thursday. And, you know, so many people here in the Hampton Roads area serve in the military. I don't want to let that occasion slip by without taking the opportunity to recognize, honor, applaud, and appreciate our veterans. So for anyone here who has served in our military in the past or is currently serving in the military, we'd like you to stand so we can give you some love and appreciation. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your service. Well, unity is a positive path for spiritual living. We follow the teachings and the example of our way shower, Jesus, in seeking to more fully love ourselves, love God, and love one another. It is truly all about love. And from that beautiful consciousness of love here in unity, we honor all paths to God, all names for God, and all expressions of God. And each and every one of you is an expression of God. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. That realization can change everything in our lives. And on our spiritual journey, as we learn and begin to turn within and connect with that inner light, that divine light within us, and we behold it in one another, that beautiful light just grows and grows, and it shines out ever more brightly to light up the world. Our vision at Unity Renaissance is, together, a spiritually awakened world, living in peace, love, and joy. And we are manifesting that vision through our mission, which is, together, we transform lives that transform the world. Yes, indeed. Let's begin our time of transformation this morning in prayer. I invite you to close your eyes, take a deep breath in. Nice big cleansing breath. Release and let it go. Sweet Spirit, we're so grateful to be together this morning in spiritual community, whether in person or online. We're breathing into oneness today. We are feeling gratitude. We are feeling connected with each other. We're so grateful for this unity philosophy that reminds us of the essence of divinity in all people. And so today, as we come together, we appreciate that each of us is here by divine appointment. We are here to learn our lessons and grow in the ways that are next for us. And we're so grateful to be doing this in spiritual community. We are grateful for our shared journey of awakening and for this truth, for this day, for all that flows from this moment forward. We are grateful. Thank you, God. And so it is. Amen.
Y'all ready to learn a new song today? All about becoming empowered. Let's stand. We'll sing it for you, and you can sing it back to us. 2, 3, 4.
When someone becomes empowered, there is a little less fear. Where there's a little less fear, there is a little less anger. Where there is a little less anger, there is a little less hate. Where there's a little less hate, there is a little less conflict. Then there's a little more peace. And where there's a little more peace, there's a little more love. Where there's a little more love, someone becomes empowered.
All right, you try it with us now. Here we go.
When someone becomes empowered, there is a little less fear. Where there's a little less fear, there is a little less anger. less anger. There is a little less hate. Where there's a little less hate, there is a little less conflict. Then there's a little more peace. And where there's a little more peace, there's a little more love. Where there's a little more love, someone becomes empowered.
I know, right? Okay. Now, all you empowered folks out there, I invite you to join me on our divinity salute as we turn to greet one another with a bow. Together, the divine in me greets the divine in you. And we serve and celebrate together for the glory of God.
There's a little more peace, and where there's a little more peace, there's a little more love. Where there's a little more love, someone becomes empowered.
All right, here we go. One more time from the top. Ready?
When someone becomes empowered,
There we go.
there is a little less fear. Where there's a little less fear, there is a little less anger. When there is a little less anger, there is a little less hate. Where there's a little less hate, there is a little less conflict. Then there's a little more peace, and where there's a little more peace, there's a little more love. Where there's a little more love, someone becomes empowered. Where there's a little more love, someone becomes empowered. Where there's a little more love, someone becomes empowered. Empower someone today.
Give yourselves a hand.
Good morning, dear ones. Good morning. I'm Gail Boynton, your platform host for today. Okay. Our word for today.
Okay, you can plug it.
Do we need, oh, is there a switch here? A tricky switch.
Looks on to me. We're gonna have to speak extemporaneously.
Okay. We're good. And again, good morning. I'm Gail Boynton, your platform host. You guys were great. I love the new song. Love the new song. Our word for today, the daily word is prosperity. Please join me in our affirmation. Together, prosperity fills my life. Current flowing through my home's wiring provides light. But first, I have to flip the switch on. Divine substance, the building block of creation, is the source from which my prosperity grows. But first, I must claim it in consciousness to live a prosperous life. The divine idea of prosperity is unlimited, more than sufficient to meet every need. I know true prosperity when I live from this truth. Giving freely and generously keeps prosperity at the forefront of my consciousness. I know the more I give, the more of myself I place in circulation, the more I'll experience. As I give of myself, I increase the flow of prosperity in my life and in the world. Our scripture verse is from Mark chapter 4, verse 24. And he said to them, "Pay attention to what you hear. The measure you give will be the measure you get, and still more will be given you." If you would like prayer support today, we have a prayer chaplain available to pray with you. Shelley, would you stand? Shelley Myers will be available to pray with you after the service in the chapel. And if you also would rather just make a prayer request, you can also fill out a card in the narthex. You can go to our website, and you can also call Silent Unity 24/7 at 1-800-NOW-PRAY. That's 1-800-669-7729. And now please join us for the Lord's Psalm.
Holy Creator, we praise your name. Your will in heaven and earth the same. Supply our needs, Lord, from day to day. Let your forgiveness light our way. Lead us away from temptation's hold. Deliver us, Lord, into your fold. For all the kingdom, power and praise, with you began and with you stays. Holy Creator,
Our Father, who art in heaven,
praise your name.
hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we have forgiven our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever.
For all the kingdom, power and praise, with you began and with you stays. Amen. 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 Please be seated.
Can't see Nick.
Children of God are known by deeds, not by the holy books they read. Brothers of Jesus keep his word, though some his name they've never heard. God does not care who follows who, as long as our words and deeds are true. The kingdom of heaven belongs to all claim the name gives us the right. The one thing that all of God's children share is love for all men everywhere. Oh, the one thing that all of God's children share is love for all men everywhere.
It's Miss Holly Rice. Yeah. But not miss for long, is it?
Here we go. Are you ready? Good. Me too. Me too. Hey, thanks everyone who sent in questions for today. I have done a little bit of research, which is why I have my notebook here. That's okay. I'll make it work. Okay.
You're not going to use it.
Cameras. We're learning. Okay. All right, so today is Ask the Minister Sunday. I love doing this. I always appreciate getting your questions and having an opportunity to answer them as best I can. I always feel that I need to start with a caveat. That is, I'm not telling you what to believe. I'm not telling you what to think today. I am sharing what I believe unity teaches and to some degree what I believe. So everyone gets to make up their own mind. You make your own choices about your own beliefs. So with that caveat, here we go. So our first question comes from Nick Flores, sitting right over there. And he says, does unity believe that all methods, such as Islam, Christianity, Buddhism, Hinduism, are equal and valid paths to spiritual union with God? So the answer is yes. It needs a little bit of explanation, though. So every Sunday I say we honor all paths to God, all names for God, all expressions of God. And it's very much a part of unity philosophy to honor whatever spiritual path people follow in that sort of ascension of consciousness. What we say is that if unity resonates with you, we love having you here, we welcome you here. If unity doesn't resonate with you, we always encourage people to find a path that does, right? But that one part of his question, do we believe that all are equal and valid paths to spiritual union? What I would say about that is that we don't judge other paths. We don't look at others and say, well, you're good, you're not good, you're equal, you're valid, okay, you're all right. We really spend our time on our philosophy. When we do speak about another path, it would tend to be to contrast with traditional Christianity, just because we also consider ourselves Christian-based, and we want to draw the contrast between that. But in terms of honoring and respecting and even encouraging all paths to spiritual union with God, the answer is yes. Okay, this came in anonymously on the website. I really liked your message of the 5 golden doors, but then I started wondering if what you want to be manifested and you believe will be manifested is harmful to you or to others. The Hitler question. Does the universe only allow good manifestations, or is this an explanation of why there's unhappiness and pure evil, parentheses, really bad choices in the world? There's a lot of ideas in here, so I'm going to kind of tease it apart a little bit. First of all, let me just revisit what the 5 doors was about. That was a talk I gave, I think it was October the 17th. And the 5 golden doors were 5 principles, if you will, that if we understood them and applied them in our lives, we could demonstrate more abundant living, greater prosperity, greater good in our lives. The doors were, everything I want is available, you'll manifest as much as you believe is available, you'll manifest as much as you believe you deserve, you'll manifest as much as you ask for, you will manifest as much as you are willing to invest in, and you will manifest as much as you are willing to accept. So that's what the 5 golden doors were about. The reality is that we all have this power within us. We all have these innate divine powers within us. Whether we use them for good or for ill is a product of our own choices and our own free will. We have been given free will, and that accounts for what shows up in the world and in our lives. There is no greater power out there. There is no God super being that is pulling the strings or making decisions. Well, I think I'll let this show up, or no, I don't think I'm going to let that show up. Were that the case, I would venture to say we would not have had the Holocaust. We would not have had perhaps 9/11, slavery, racism, genocide, all these things that are a product of the choices that human beings have made exercising their free will. What I would say about that is everyone's on their own path. And so the bottom line is, how are you using your powers? It's not necessarily relevant to get worried about how other people are using theirs, but how are you using yours? How are you using that divine power within you, and what are you manifesting? Are you manifesting good? Are you manifesting prosperity and abundance and harmony and love? Or are you sowing discord? What are you doing with the powers that you have been given? Let's see if there was anything else I wanted to say about that. I do think, let me get some water here. I do think that we need to be careful when we start labeling people as good or bad, that some people set out with good intentions and some people set out with bad intentions. It's my personal belief that nobody wakes up, now I'm leaving out mental illness here. There could be severe mental illness where this would happen, where somebody wakes up and says, I think I'm going to be a bad guy. I think I'm going to go out there and do bad things in the world. Typically, people feel they're trying to get their needs met, and in whatever way they're thinking, they've justified what they're doing. If they didn't have a justification for it, they wouldn't do it. So I just want to be careful about that kind of dualistic thinking where some of us are doing good things and some of us are doing bad things. And again, what I would say is stick to your own knitting and how you are applying these principles in your life, because we need them. We need more people like you and you who are applying them to good. Okay, on to the next one. Oops, I skipped one. This is a good one. Is it necessary to suffer to achieve higher consciousness? This one comes from Marsha Austin. And she cites Matthew chapter 10, verse 38, that says, whoever does not take up the cross and follow me is not worthy of me. So I did some research on this one. First of all, about that scripture passage. And what the scholars say about that is that it's very likely did not come from Jesus, but was rather words put into his mouth from the later Christians, the evangelists. And the clue to that is that they make a reference to the cross. They're really making a reference to the crucifixion. Well, he hadn't been crucified. He was doing his ministry. He was living his life. So for him to be talking about the cross at that early stage makes us think that that came in from later writers and was added into that gospel. But to the larger point, do we have to suffer to become enlightened? My answer would be no, again with an explanation. Because to me, we all suffer, we all experience pain and hardship in our lives. But I really stick to the saying, pain is inevitable, Suffering is optional. I believe that we all encounter challenges in our lives in so many ways, and maybe all ways. That's how we grow. Is it not true? When you look back over the most difficult times in your life, that's probably where you had the biggest breakthrough or the biggest insight that helped you going forward. These challenges that occur in our path, as we like to say, the obstacles in your path are not in the way. They are the way. How you address those challenges, how you grow in the face of them, is what feeds your spiritual growth. So I would say the challenges and to some degree pain is necessary for our evolution, our spiritual evolution. But suffering, again, is optional, because suffering, at least in my mind now, suffering occurs when we go over it and it becomes part of our sort of identity. And to me, the suffering results when we relinquish our own power to overcome. And so some pain, you would say, is irreversible, right? There's some things that we can't physically change, for example, a person's body. But we can always change our attitude. We can always change the way we're looking at it. We can always change so that we see ourselves as whole and overcomers rather than victims. Because I believe when we see ourselves as victims and we relinquish our power is when we truly suffer. And I do not believe that that is necessary or even advisable on the spiritual path. I hope that makes sense. Let's see if I covered all that. I did want to share this one quote, which I think is relevant to this. One of my favorite books is Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. I know many of you have read that book. And here is a man who was in the concentration camps during World War II, just the most horrific conditions, the most terrible injustice and oppression and pain. But he was able to come through that experience, and he wrote about it in his book. And this is what he says: "Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's way." And that, I believe, is where we find our power. All right. This is a really juicy one. This is what I'm going to spend the most time on. What is Unity's view of the Gospel of Thomas? From Judy Namath. Thank you, Judy. So many of us have talked about the Gospel of Thomas before. We know it to be one of the Gnostic Gospels. The Gnostic Gospels were Gospels that were not included in the Bible canon. A great cache of them was found in Nag Hammadi, Egypt in 1945, buried. They had been buried so that they would not be seized in those days in the late 1st and early 2nd century. Those who did not abide by Orthodox beliefs were considered heretics and their lives were at risk. The Gospel of Thomas was one of those texts found in the Nag Hammadi library. It is often cited and probably heard about more than any of the others because it is the most complete. So there are not so many missing pages and it kind of holds together better. It is said to have been recorded by Didymus Judas Thomas, the brother, possibly the twin brother of Jesus. Now just remember, people would write in a name even if they weren't that person. They would say this was the testimony of so-and-so or the Gospel of Matthew or whatever it was, but it wasn't actually Matthew writing it. You know that, right? So that could well be the case here. Gnostic simply means knowledge or insight. And for the Gnostics, the spiritual journey was about discovering and experiencing the kingdom of God within them. They were more interested in the teachings of Jesus than what the Orthodox Church came to teach about Jesus. So in this way, they were very compatible with what we teach in Unity, because we are in a new thought for overall, because we are more interested in the teachings of Jesus and how to apply those in our lives than, say, the teachings of or teachings about Jesus from the church, the traditional church. But the Gospel of Thomas is so important that it is one that the 300 distinguished gospel scholars in the Jesus Seminar, you've heard me talk about that. This was a gathering of 300 of the highest ranking Bible scholars got together. They spent 6 years poring over the 4 canonical Gospels and the Gospel of Thomas to use their collective wisdom, their research, everything they could get their hands on to determine whether this was what Jesus truly said. You know, the red letter that you find in the Gospels. They were trying to find out to their best judgment, what did he actually say and what words were put in his mouth later by others. The fact that they included the Gospel of Thomas in here says what high esteem they held it in. We in New Thought consider it to be original, authentic, and directly tied to what Jesus said. It has 114 sayings in it that are considered to be sort of enigmatic, kind of the hidden sayings, kind of esoteric. And there are some of them that really beautifully align with New Thought. For example, saying 24, there is light within a person of light, and it shines on the whole world. Saying 25, Jesus said, love your brother like your soul. Protect that person like the pupil of your eye. Saying 113, his followers said to him, and you've heard this before, but you may not have known it seems to have originated in Thomas. His followers said to him, when will the kingdom come? He responded, it will not come by watching for it. It will not be said, look, here it is, or look, there it is. Rather, the Father's kingdom is spread out upon the earth, and people do not see it. So great, now you're ready to go out and get a copy of the Gospel of Thomas. What I want to tell you, though, is there's some other sayings in there that are weird. There's some other sayings in there that are strange, that can even be a little offensive. One of them, saying 7, lucky is the lion that the human will eat, so that the lion becomes human. And foul is the human that the lion will eat, and the lion still will become human. Okay. Says there's a lot to, the Jesus seminar just said, this saying is obscure. Yeah. There's a lot to sort out there. And then this one, saying 14, this one really threw me. It says, if you fast, you will bring sin upon yourselves. And if you pray, you will be condemned. And if you give to charity, you will harm your spirits. Right. What the scholars say is they think that was meant to be sort of a radical criticism of popular piety and sort of the ostentatious practice, these ostentatious practices, religious practices, but right, it really throws you, doesn't it? So it's a little bit of a mixed bag. So when we look at the Gospel of Thomas from the New Thought perspective, there are a couple of aspects of it that are truly exciting, even above and beyond anything written in particular sayings. One is that it reminds us that there were other Gospels written around the time of Jesus that were not included in the Bible canon. They were purposely not included because they did not conform to the story that the church wanted to tell. Second, Thomas was a sayings gospel. All it is the sayings attributed to Jesus. It doesn't include any narrative. It doesn't talk about a virgin birth or any circumstances around his death or resurrection. There's nothing like that in there. It is all sayings. And what makes that particularly relevant is the third point, that scholars believe the Gospel of Thomas predated the canonical Gospels. They predated Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. So you could begin to see how the sayings existed first, the focus perhaps being on Jesus' teachings, and then others came along in later decades and layered on some popular narratives around death, or birth, death, resurrection, etc. From a Bible study standpoint, that's the real significance of the Gospel of Thomas, that it can be traced, parts of it can be traced to as early as 50 or 60 of the Common Era. So that would have been like 20 years ago, or 20 years or so after Jesus' death. When you look at Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, the earliest of those was written, I think it was 40 years after his death, and then 70 and 90. So we're talking significant difference in the timing of it. So of course we would tend to think what was written closer to the time of his life and death would have more authenticity. I first heard about the Gospel of Thomas from Reverend Dr. Mary Tumpkin giving a paper in 2006 or 2007, and she said this, a paper at an INTA, a New Thought conference, And I came right out of my chair when I heard her talk about the Gospel of Thomas. She said, in recent years, the Gospel of Thomas has gained the attention of many since its writings promote individual transformation. For those who seek to live a life of spiritual engagement, the Gospel of Thomas provides thought-provoking concepts that seekers of truth wrestle with as they encounter God and the kingdom right here. It offers by no means an easy course of development, but one that demands a strong commitment and devotion to the inner life. So that really resonates with what we are about here at Unity. All right, now for the lightning round. These are a little quicker questions and answers, several from John Cates. First, is Unity a denomination or a movement? What distinguishes one from the other? And if it is still considered a movement, are there any efforts to consider it a denomination? So from the beginning, it's been referred to as a movement, and that was very intentional on the part of our founders, Charles and Myrtle Fillmore. They did not want to create a church. They did not want to create a denomination. What they created was they wanted it to be sort of a meeting ground where people could go to their own churches during the morning and then come to Unity in the afternoon to talk about spiritual principles and truths that were common to all of them. So their whole focus was about teaching these sort of overarching principles that could be applied to our lives to completely transform our lives. When folks came along and said, but really we should have churches, people want to gather together, they want to worship, very reluctantly they agreed. And so Unity churches began to be formed. So that's when the term denomination started to be used, because denomination really applies more to a particular church. And so people still use that, but I personally still like movement better, because the point of the Fillmores was, we're not trying to be a big church. We're not trying to get a lot of people into churches. We're trying to get these principles out into the world where they can make the biggest difference. So that was the reason for calling it a movement. At the beginning of our Breakthrough Building Fund drive, we heard the new addition would be named after our first pastor, founding minister, Judith Meyer. When will we have the official naming and dedication? Also, will we have a wall recognizing our previous 3, in my humble opinion 4, pastors? Each one laid a building block toward our continued success and should be recognized. So I'm so glad you asked this question. It served as a catalyst, and the board voted at its last meeting to go ahead and name the fellowship hall Meyer Hall. And we will dedicate that to her and install a sign in there that indicates such sometime in January. We want to complete the campaign, and then we will absolutely celebrate what we've created together and proceed with that. In terms of the plaque or wall recognizing previous pastors, I will leave that to the board. Let's see. I recognize the importance of becoming a member of Unity Renaissance. It does have its benefits, a sense of belonging being at the top for me. My question pertains to why is it necessary to renew membership every year? My feeling is we renew our membership by pledging, by attending services, by participating in the various activities. I realize the need to know who the members are, but annually seems like overkill. So I really hear you on that. I know it comes around quickly. We do it in order to keep our files cleaned, in order to keep our database up to date. People move, people die, people remarry, divorce, etc. And we want to make sure that we have the up-to-date information. So that's why we do it annually. And the wonderful Alicia Flores has made it as easy as possible. It could not be easier now. She will send you an email that has your information in it. All you have to do is write a single word back to her, yes, and you are renewed. So that's the reason for that. I've noticed Silent Unity is no longer mentioned during our services. Is it still around? Thank you for asking the question. That's why it was in today. We talked about Silent Unity. We originally started talking about Silent Unity when we were all gone, when this was an empty sanctuary on Sundays because we were in lockdown, and people needed more prayer support. Than we didn't have prayer chaplains here, so we started telling people about Silent Unity. When we came back in the building and had chaplains here again, we stopped talking about Silent Unity. But your question reminded me that people are still watching online, and people still need many different ways to get prayer support, so we've put that back in thanks to you. Thank you, John. This one is from Gail Kent. Sorry. After having sung in church choirs for most of my adult life, I miss hearing and experiencing classical church music. I realize that some of the messaging in traditional music is not consistent with unity values, but would it be possible to incorporate some of it into the service in other ways? Certainly Bach, Handel, and Mozart could at least provide instrumental and meditative music that would not be objectionable. While I love our choir and the songs used in the service, I feel that there is a wealth of music that could add depth to the spiritual experience at Unity. Passing that over to you, Reverend Richard.
I heard it here. Could you repeat the question? No, I'm kidding. Okay. I agree that that great choral classical music is just so moving, and it really touches our, that inner ancestral, part of us. And currently, when we get our choir up to where we can go back to doing that, we will definitely do that. In the meantime, if we can have Bach, Handel, or Mozart come on in and play, I would love that, as you suggested. But in the meantime, we could use that for background music. If we were going to do a dance or some kind of theatrical production, we could bring that in. And right now we're focused on the importance of our music matching our message, so that when you leave here, you've got a solid idea and you can maybe even sing the message. So, prior to 15 or 20 years ago, Unity did not have its own body of music, but we do now. And so we use, that's our focus during the service. And as far as meditation, even doing classical music behind meditation becomes distracting, because if you recognize the melody, it takes you away from the meditation. So I always improvise the meditation music so it doesn't break your concentration. So I hear that, and I will be looking for opportunities to present some more classical choral or otherwise classical music.
Thank you, and thank you, Gail, for the question. Gail had another question for us. Why is there no directory of members for Unity Renaissance? Every other congregation of which I've been a member has one. I would very much like to have one to help me feel more a part of Unity. As a member who lives on the peninsula and finds it impossible to get to the service every week, it would be a huge help to be able to make contact with individual members and learn their names. I know there are other Peninsula members, for example, but I don't know who they are and where they live. Is this a possibility? So this has been suggested a bunch. Many people would like us to have a directory again. I have some resistance to the idea of a print directory, because we are bigger than something we can hand out in print now. Other people are involved in our service who aren't necessarily here. Also, the reality is that it goes out of date within probably a day of it being printed, because we have new people coming and going all of the time. However, we could have an online directory, and I think I've talked to Alicia about this. We think that would be a really great idea. We're updating our database. When we get it updated, we will be able to have a member directory that has people's names and the information they're willing to have shared about them. If we wanted to add photos into that, which I kind of got from the question was part of that, that's a bigger undertaking. So we would need somebody to organize that. And here's kind of the bottom line. This is a great idea. All we need is somebody to lead it. We need somebody to lead it and drive it and own it and make it happen. This is a big project. It's a worthwhile project. With all the staff have on their plates right now, I personally am not willing to put this on them as well. But we have incredible people here. This reminds me of the cookbook project. Everybody wanted a cookbook, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's such a huge thing. And along came Ginger Zarski, created a knockout team, went off, got her done, bam. So if you have an interest in this, not only being a part of it, but actually being the leader of it, please let me know, because I think it would be very worthwhile. And with that said, quite honestly, folks, there isn't anything we can't do here, or very little we can't do here, if somebody is willing to take charge of it and lead it and make it happen. You're empowered, remember? So think about what you would like to bring into our community. Final question from Jolene Zakowski. What, if anything, did the Fillmores say about the afterlife? Well, they didn't talk a lot about the afterlife, because they were mostly concerned with the here and now. How do we live our lives in this iteration? But they did talk about it some. Certainly they did not endorse the idea of a traditional heaven and hell, that the saved go to heaven and the damned go to hell. More often in Unity we say heaven and hell. our states of consciousness that we create here in this life. But they did talk about the afterlife, particularly with respect to reincarnation. So both of them believed in reincarnation, and Charles especially talked a lot about reincarnation. They both seem to have almost a Hindu view where you keep coming back and back until you reach the highest state of realization, and then your reincarnation is complete. For them, that meant rising into Jesus consciousness or Christ consciousness, we would say, achieving full realization. But Charles talked about this a lot more. Charles actually let it be known that he felt he was the reincarnation of the Apostle Paul. And that was interesting because he didn't hold the Apostle Paul in particularly high esteem. He felt that maybe he thought he was here to correct the record. But the Apostle Paul, he felt, had kind of steered Christianity away from the true teachings of Jesus. So anyway, that was kind of his take. And of course, they believe that when the body dies, the soul lives on. Myrtle believed in reincarnation. She did not this is the part I was looking for here. She did not favor efforts to communicate with the dead through mediums, but she did believe in reincarnation. And I'll close with this story today about the differences between how they died, Charles and Myrtle Fillmore. So Charles believed that you could regenerate your body. He believed so much in the power of the mind to heal the body that he felt that if we got expert at that, we would never die. And we would continue to regenerate our organs and cells, etc. So at the age of, 94, I think, when he was on his deathbed, he felt that he had failed because he had failed in his life because he was not able to live eternally in that body. Myrtle had a very different view. Myrtle, at the age of 86, was at Unity Village, healthy, walking around, doing great work, leading Silent Unity education, did a ton of work with kids. And she just walked around one day and said, you know what? She had decided that she could be of more help to Unity from the other side. So she went around and said her goodbyes to people. She was in good health. And the next day she died. So it's like Myrtle kind of, got it, right? Myrtle was ready to be from the other side and help us from that angle. So it's just very different how the founders related to that whole thing. Anyway, sorry to run so long today. I get excited when I'm talking about your questions, but I appreciate them very much. We're going to skip over the meditation since we're running so late today. I would encourage you at some point in your day to give yourself a little meditation time and breathe into that presence. Did you have something you needed to say? We good? Okay. All right. Thank you. All right, friends. So now is the time for the sharing of, right? Am I on? I got mixed up. We live in the, yeah. Okay.
We just done flow through me.
Oh, you just did flow through me. Okay, so we're past that. Okay.
You did it flawlessly too.
So now is the time in our service for the sharing of our love offering in support of this community, this wonderful philosophy and movement we call unity. So I invite you to give from that place of gratitude in you, knowing that you are a prosperous soul. You are manifesting prosperity every minute in greater amounts every day. And many ways to give to Unity Renaissance. You can certainly give via check or cash. You're welcome to put that in the love offering basket in the back of the room today. The easiest way, of course, is to use your smartphone by texting and then texting the word give and thereafter the amount you wish to contribute to
540-418-1228. Text now.
And now, friends, as you prepare your gift, I have something so exciting to share with you. Yes. So you can go to the next slide, Sandy. So I'd like to give you an update on our Let's Finish Strong campaign. So the last time we reported in, so let me just be clear about this. So we had a 3-year capital campaign. We called it Turning Point. It ends the end of this year. We are trying to reach the amount that was pledged, which was $557,000, so that we have as small a mortgage amount as possible going into 2022. Okay? So I just want to be clear. We reach this amount. It doesn't mean we don't have a mortgage. It means that we hit our target with this campaign, but we're still looking to reduce the mortgage as much as we possibly can going into next year. So our previous total was $480,000. You've seen that out there on the thermometer. Many of you have been fulfilling your pledges and giving over the past several weeks. And it has added up in a really amazing way, so that our new total is, go. We had a congregant who gave us $100,000 last week. Go ahead, Sandy. You want to show us that next slide there, Sandy? There we go. So that's what it looks like now, folks. Woo! Woohoo! It's incredible, isn't it? So now, in the spirit of full disclosure, I know some of you are now thinking, some of you who owed pledged amounts, well, guess I don't need to worry about that. So let me just say this. Your pledge is a promise. It is a commitment that you made. Your being right with it is an inside job. I know that Rich and I paid ours off a couple weeks ago, and it was the best feeling in the world. So you take that into your spirit. Again, every amount we collect, going on from here even, reduces the amount of our mortgage and our monthly payments for the next 14 years, although I think we'll pay it off sooner, but that's what we're looking at. So make that your inside job about your own integrity, right, and your own commitment. Beyond that, however, for those who have fulfilled their pledges, for those who were giving to the campaign to help make up for those who could not fulfill their pledges, first of all, thank you so much for that. But going through the rest of this year, I would lovingly invite you to direct that to our operations and our general fund rather than the capital campaign at this point. We have some ground to make up in our operating budget to finish the year in the black and to be in really great financial shape for 2022. And I know we will do that with your help. So hopefully that messaging will give you a little bit of clarity and direction. If anyone is confused, please see me after the service. And in the meanwhile, thank you so much. Thank you so much. What an amazing place. Amazing place. We can do anything here. It's incredible. So I invite you now to hold your love offering in your hand, and let's bless it with our offertory blessing together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God.
We're going to share the dream.
There's a winding road where I learned to run. Well, the race is long, but it can be won. With every step we're taking, with every choice we're making, with every bend in the road, we get stronger. We can reach up, we can reach out, we can show this world what we're all about. We can do anything we put our minds to, we can be anything the dream. There's a dead-end street where I used to play, but I found my wings and I can fly away. Below the street lights fading, ahead my future's waiting. Beyond the doubts and the fears, I can see it. We can reach up, we can reach out, we can show this world what we're all about. We can do anything we put our minds to. We can be anything we wanna be. We must believe we can share the dream. Help us out, y'all. We can share the dream, we can share the dream.
Oh, yes, we can.
We can share the dream, we can share the dream.
Oh, come on.
We can share the dream, we can share the dream. We can reach out, we can share the dream, we can share the dream. We can reach out, we can share the dream, we can share the dream. We can reach out, we can share the dream, we can share the dream. We can reach out, we can reach out. We can show this world what we're all about. We can do anything we put our minds to. We can be anything we wanna be. We can reach out,
We can reach out.
we can reach out. We can show this world what we're all about. We can do anything we put our minds to. We can be anything we wanna be.
We must believe.
We must believe we can share the dream. We can reach out.
Give yourselves a hand. That was Nick Hill.
Such a good song. All right. We'd like to take a moment now to welcome anyone who is new to Unity Renaissance. If you are here today for the first, second, or third time, we invite you to raise your hand nice and high, holding up the appropriate number of fingers, 1 for your first visit, 2 for your second, 3 for your third. We have a gift for you. We got a second timer here and a first timer over there and a third timer over here. We got a 1, 2, 3. All right. Welcome. It's great to have you with us. We look forward to seeing you again and again. We are in the process right now of recruiting, if you will, candidates for our Board of Trustees. If you are interested in running for our board, we have application packets available in the narthex. They are also on our website. Just want to let you know, if you are a candidate or if you're thinking of running for the board, candidates must attend both a finance committee meeting and a board of trustees meeting by the end of the year. We have a joint meeting of those two committees this Thursday night. So if you're interested or if you are a candidate and you haven't participated in those meetings, that's one way to get them both in one fell swoop. So you're invited to join us. That's at 6 o'clock this Thursday night.
Okay, you've already mentioned that it's renewal time, membership renewal. So if you're a member and you'd like to renew, they've made it really, really easy, as simple as saying yes. When you get an email in the next few weeks, you just reply yes and send that back. You can also go on out to the narthex if you're here, and Alicia will fix you up. And there was another, you can go online and do it there as well.
Can you? I'm not sure. Maybe you can. Okay.
I believe
Talk to
so, the
Alicia.
website.
Talk to Alicia,
Yeah.
answer your email, and we'll get you taken care of. All right. Debbie Amy is our featured artist this month and next month. We'd like to invite you up. Tell us a little bit about your art creations. Is this mic working now? There you go.
Well, I could be loud.
Stand to the mic if you would. It'll pick it up better on the live stream.
Oh, okay, great. Well, first of all, I really just want to say, without getting choked up, That was awesome, the questions and answers, and I just, you did such a wonderful job. Thank you. And I just really feel so blessed being here, and I just really feel such a connection with everyone here. So much love, so much opportunity to watch each other grow and experience life and all the stuff that comes with that. So I just really want to thank everyone, first of all, for being part of my family here. So what I wanted to really say with both walls here is that one way that I like to manifest in my life is through my art. That's the vehicle I feel that I can really express my truth. And that's my biggest desire in life, is really expressing my truth, finding out who I truly am, and being comfortable with that, and then shouting and being audacious, like our book that we've been studying. And in that, it's co-creating with spirit. So that's my focus in all my art that I do in this part of my life. Since I've been coming here for 20 years, it totally shifted my perspective on living. And so that's when you see some of the goofy things and some of the serious things, it's all about expressing myself and spirit within, and reminding others who they are. And our oneness, and that's my desire. So I hope you enjoy the art, and let it just remind you of your divine nature and how great you are. And Sandy's up there on the, wave your hand up there on the PowerPoint. Sandy and I are the art patrons that help people purchase art. 100% goes back to the church to buy new art for the rest of the new building space. And the process is up there on the wall, as well as calling cards and my webpage. So check out the webpage. There's a lot of other things to see. Thank you.
We're not sure if you caught that. She said 100% of the proceeds of this art will come to the church. That's her donating all of this art to the church. Typically, it's a third that the artist gives back to the church. So thank you, Debbie Amy. Thank you. So next Sunday, I'm super excited about next Sunday. It's Gratitude Sunday. As we go into Thanksgiving week, we're going to have a really wonderful service that you will all want to be at. Something special is happening. You're going to be sorry if you aren't here. There's going to be a great service next week. And we also are having a volunteer appreciation lunch for our many, many volunteers at 12:30 next Sunday. We'll be providing food from Chipotle. We'll have some good fellowship time together and just sort of raise the profile of volunteering again at Unity Renaissance. If you're a volunteer or you volunteered here and you have not received an invitation, please email me, or you can tell me today, because I want to make sure we're not missing anybody here, and there's a lot of you. But I'm very much looking forward to that next Sunday.
The annual remembrance ceremony service is coming up in December. Reverend Richard and Ann DeMichael are going to be hosting it. It's on the Wednesday, December 15th at 7 p.m. This is just a chance for you to honor anyone in the past year during 2021, and this includes pets. So if you want to do that, send Reverend Richard an email giving him the name, the birth date, and the date of transition, and send a picture as well to rmekdeci@gmail.com.
It's a really, really beautiful service. Hey, by the way, while we're on that topic, I wanted to share, I just found out yesterday, we will have the Celebration of Life service for George Rice at 2 o'clock on Sunday, December the 5th. We'll be sending that out, but for those of you who are planning your holiday calendar, you might want to put that on there too. So yeah, Christmas is coming, and we're going to have a Christmas dinner this year. Hallelujah! It's been a couple years now. It's going to be great. We're going to have it in the fellowship hall, soon to be Meyer Hall. And you'll be invited to bring a side dish. The church will provide the main dish. Bring a side dish or a dessert to share. We'll wear our masks when we're together, except when we're eating. At least that's the current plan. You can sign up on the hall wall, and please do take a moment to do that, so we make sure we don't have 50 green bean casseroles, that kind of thing. And you are invited to cook something from our Unity Renaissance cookbook. And that's a way of really getting these wonderful recipes out in circulation. And there is a 20% off discount in the bookstore right now on our cookbook. And I guess they're going to have a raffle for people who brought in a dish from the cookbook, and they're going to raffle off some prizes from the bookstore. So wonderful idea there. And one more announcement, we have an extension in the One Mind class. It is going into this Wednesday. We had technological difficulties last Wednesday, had to postpone. So that is now happening this Wednesday instead. It is on the end of life review with the amazing Bruce Grayson, Dr. Bruce Grayson. Christopher will be interviewing him, but to sort of sweeten the deal and add even more excitement to this final class in that series, he will be bringing back Mark Gober, who we've all learned to love through his podcast, and he'll be talking to him as well. If we have any last questions we want to ask, he'll be there to answer those. You can sign up at unityrenaissance.org, $25 per class. I would encourage you to take advantage of this last one, particularly if you've missed the others. It's going to be a fabulous wrap-up and some great speakers there. So that's a lot of announcements, a lot of stuff, but let's welcome in our children, shall we? Thank you.
We are walking in the light of God. 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 We are walking, walking. We are walking, walking. We are walking in the light of God. We are walking, walking. We are walking, walking. We are walking in the light of God. We are walking in the light of God. We are walking in the light of God.
Hey kids, it's so good to see you all. How are you doing today? Who would like to share what you learned? Oh my gosh, we have some eager folks. Well, you're about to come out of your skin, so I'm going to let you go first.
We're all
Oh, you're all together. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready.
1, 2, 3.
Prosperity means that there is always enough.
Prosperity means that there's always enough. We are learning that too. Well done, well done. Does somebody down here have something? Yes. Hi, sweetheart.
God always gives me plenty to spare and plenty to share.
God, you hear it? God always gives me plenty to spare and plenty to share. Boy, you guys are talking about some good topics today. Yes.
We read a book, and there was this little man who always came to that tree. It was the giving tree, but then he stopped coming there, and he wanted a lot of stuff, and the tree gave up his life for all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody else? All right. Good stuff today. Aren't they beautiful? Aren't they amazing? Yes. Oh, I'm so sorry, Isabel. You're along the wall behind the shadows. Come on out. Here you go, darling.
Today we talked about like what makes us feel powerful and like just our power and who inspires us to feel powerful.
Oh, lovely. Who does inspire us to feel powerful? I would love to have heard that conversation. Way to go. All right. That is that. Let's stand together now as we share in our prayer for protection, followed by our peace song. Together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family can reach out. We can show this world what we're all about. We can do anything we put our minds to. We can be anything we wanna be. We can reach out. We can reach out. We can show this world what we're all about. We can do anything we put our minds to. We can be anything we wanna be. We must believe we can share the dream.